Well, thank you for joining us. Today it is a Tuesday, the 26th of April, 2022. Just 16 minutes past midday. We do welcome you to the Financial Markets Program that runs every Monday to Friday from midday up to 1 p.m. And of course, today we have yet another edition to learn a lot, really a lot in the financial markets, in business, because at Smart 24 TV, we are driving business, and that's what we are doing today. We are privileged this afternoon to have a guest, a consultant, a business consultant, who will be talking to us about business development. We need to know a lot of things. So many people want to get into the business world, but we literally have no idea how to start up, how to get the funding, the different funding options, and how to develop the businesses, and that is what we are going to concentrate on today. And we have none other than Samuel Agaba Ngambachi. I think I pronounced it well.
Yes. You had it right.
I've tried.
You had it right, not even trying.
Okay.
You had it right.
Oh, wow. Okay, we have him in studios today, and he's going to be talking to us. You're very much welcome.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you for hosting me.
So we are going to start up director because we are running out of time. We shall start with business development. It is a huge thing. Business development is a huge thing, right from startup up to where you feel like, I don't know where there is a certain point where someone feels like, yes, this business where it is, I think it's done. I don't need to put in more effort. I don't know whether that point is there.
It's never there as long as it's a business.
So we're going to be talking about the business development. What is business development ideally in a layman's language? How can someone understand the topic of discussion today, which is business development?
I think two key words to understand out of this. One is business, another thing is development. I will begin with business. Business is literally offering of services. Now the services can be in terms of products or goods. So we have goods and services, and we need to get much clear about that, because the goods include tangible things. And selling selling an iPad, selling a tab, selling a phone, selling a dress, selling a shoe, those are tangible products. So those are goods. Then we have services. Services are quite intangible, but they bring satisfaction to humanity. For example, if you're talking about customer care, it is a business. You don't touch it, you don't see it, but you feel it. So business means that you need to take care of both the intangible and the tangible ideas that bring satisfaction to mankind. And in most cases, business is focusing on the basics: food, shelter, clothes, medical care, because that's what we need to live. Then what is development then? Development is purely growing something, step by step, just like we have human growth and development. So business development is literally the ideas, the practicability, and the implementation of those ideas to be able to grow and sustain a business. Sustainability is very important when we talk about business development, because when it is not sustainable, then it doesn't grow. When it doesn't grow, it's not developing. So that's purely what business development is all about.
Okay. So many people out there looking out to starting up businesses, to have businesses of their own. Others have the ideas, but they literally don't know how to start up. Others have the monies, but they don't know what to do. So it is a huge thing. It has a lot of challenges that come along with it. But before we get to the challenges that come along with having the money, and you don't know what to do with the money and so on, there are startup funding options, so many of them. So every person has that idea. I have this business idea, but then I think I'm looking at this to get the money to start up. I'm looking at this, and there are many of them. What are some of those funding options that someone can look out when they are starting up a business? Because in business development, it will just not come out of the blue and it's a big thing. You will start up from somewhere. What are those funding options that someone can look out to?
Thank you. One is that funding is going to purely depend at times on what kind of business you're doing. And that starts from the idea, like we talked about business development. So assuming you want to start a business and you're ready and you're looking for ways of funding the business, the first and most important way of funding should be you.
Okay.
Funding your own business. And how do you fund your own business? Because the conversation could be, I don't have the money. One, you need to save. Because wherever you're going to pick funds out from, they have saved that money. Now, probably they could be running it as a business of saving money and now giving out money in different ways. So as an individual, every time you get an idea of starting a business, at that stage, start saving for that business. And saving is not about huge sums of money. No. Saving starts with the discipline and appreciating the culture. You can choose to say that as Kevin, I'm going to save 1,000 every single day. It looks very little money, very, very little money for a dream of maybe a business of 10 million. But what you're trying to look at in doing that is not about the money, but appreciating the discipline and the culture, that it inculcates it in yourself that every day I have to pick something from my resources and put it aside. That culture and discipline is very, very key. Even if you have 100,000 or 1,000,000 shillings that you can save every day, if it doesn't become a culture, I know people who hit a deal, get 100 million, save then 50 million. The challenge with that is next week you come back and pick out that money. So saving is about discipline. Saving is about a culture. The moment you save 1,000 every single day, and at the end of the week you see 7,000, the next week you find 14,000. When you get a 50,000, you say, let me pick off a 30,000 and put it as a whole. In a whole month, before you know it, you have 100,000. I have a gate man at home who's chosen to open up a saving kit with me, and he started with 2,000. Within a space of 2 weeks, he raises over 50,000 from washing cars at home, doing all this PT work we send him. So that culture is very, very key. Had he not started, probably that 50,000 won't be there. So one of the greatest ways is to fund it yourself, or start with a seed. It's what we call a seed. You cannot start up a business using other people's seeds. It's very tricky because you don't appreciate what it means to then grow the business.
It's saving your little money.
Yes.
You will understand
Exactly.
how to run that business,
Exactly.
how it's going to develop, because you
Exactly.
ideally have the pain.
Exactly.
You know the pain.
The sweet and sour moment of saving that
money.
Yeah. Then away from that, now, come to family and friends. You know, when you're starting a business, you have a vision, you have a mission for this business. When you come to Smart 24, when you enter the reception, there are those missions and visions are always displayed in every organization. Yeah. And a mission or a vision is literally what the business stands for. So you need to share your vision with your family and
people
friends, people around you, people who believe in what you think works, or people who have the same like minds. At times we get lost to think that family, we're born with these people, and so we go with our ideas, they'll buy them. No, you need to be very certain with your own family members and say, who believes in this dream? There are those who don't believe in it. Exactly. So for you, when you understand who, then it helps not you to get frustrated when you run to them and they don't give you any money. So you have family that they can make a box for you and do an harambe for you. You have friends. I keep on telling my peers that friends, which we call networks, are very, very key and important in life. Remember that funding that we're talking about will come both monetary and non-monetary. The challenge is, we think funding is all about money. You need friends, you need a network that may not give you money, but give you ideas. Yeah. That can mentor you, that can coach you into the journey of growing the business. So you can go to the friends and now talk through them. So if you have friends that you hang around with, drink with, if you sit down with them and give them an idea, can they support you? If you have a couple of friends that you sit and drink with and spend your money on, but when you have an idea, they can't bring on money, then quit such kind of friendship and networks. I'm talking about my beautiful friends, you ladies and lovely girls. You have your baby showers, you have your bridal showers and all that. If these kind of networks cannot once in a while sit up and say, yes, we've done bridal showers, we've done baby showers as a team, but can
But
we
what
sit
about the other
down
side?
and support ourselves? We are 10 of us. What are we doing? Are you baking at home? Are you making yogurt? Are you having a cleaning company? Can we sit out and find a 50K out of us?
Where can we
support you?
invest money?
Exactly. That's what a network is all about. You have grants. That's at a later stage. You have business proposals, people writing business proposals. There are people who have the money. There are people who want support.
They are ready to fund. You have your idea, they give you the money.
Exactly. So you need to invest in doing great business proposals. Sit down with people who've been in the industry or people who are good at business proposal writing. They write your proposal, but it will still come back to the kind of the idea, the vision, the dream that you have. It's
Before actually doing the proposal, you have the idea. Before selling it to them, you have the idea with you.
Exactly. So they simply get it out of your head, put it into documentation, you call for granting. You can put into stock markets, you can buy insurance, but you see, you can go to the banks and get loans. But for me, before you get into, I would look at the primary and secondary. The primary sources of funding should be you, probably a savings. It can be family, it can be friends, it can be through a couple of networks. You may also look at partnerships as a strong way of funding. Because whichever business you're doing, it's not new, someone is running it. So if you're going into selling boutiques, could you think about an option whereby you partner with a person who already runs a boutique and they give you some space so that you reduce on the costs? But also what happens is when they are bringing in some products, they also help bring on for you. All that is looking at funding. It's not just about money, but all sorts of ways where you can reduce your expenditure but increase your income. So for me, those are primary ones. Then the secondary ones is to go to the banks and get loans. Insurance, those are long-term plans. Some have short-term insurance savings plans. Because the bank where you're going to is putting an interest in the money. The bank is actually trading into money business. So it's not entirely a place you want to venture when you're starting a business.
Go back to saving, to the saving culture.
Exactly.
You're still going to the bank will mean that you have to be saving.
Exactly.
That is when you will afford to pay back this money.
Yes.
So in case you don't have that financial discipline, you don't have the saving culture, you will definitely not manage the bank.
True.
Yeah.
True. Because the bank will probably look at your statements for them to give you a loan, what's the security or collateral that you have. They'll ask you for books of financial records of your books, the few business you've done. You can't go to the bank and enter and say, bank, I have a dream. I want to do it.
Yeah,
so that's why I say it all starts again with a discipline. Discipline. And that discipline must be turned into a culture.
So it gets back to everyone to have the saving culture before you do anything.
Absolutely.
Because before you think of the bank to start up a business, what have you saved to start up with?
Exactly.
It's like people who organize functions.
Exactly.
You organize a function and you want people to come and crowdfund for you.
Yeah.
Can you at least try? What do you have? Okay.
Exactly.
What do you have on the table before family members come out, before your friends come out, before that bank gives you, what do you have as a person?
Given the best scenario, you have a wedding, you want 80 million, how much do you have?
How much do you have?
Sijui people will come
As you sell your idea to the people, they'll ask, how much do you have?
How
on the
much
table?
do you have?
Yeah. So that is, I think, the same way with investing or starting up a business.
Yeah,
As you sell your idea to me, Kevin, I have this kind of idea. I'll start by asking you, what do you have
What is your seed?
for the start?
Yeah.
But saving is a hard thing that needs to be, I don't know how we have to instill it in people. It's a hard thing.
It's a hard thing because one, when you talk about culture, you see, culture is something done repeatedly over time, and that binds into certain morals and values. Now, the challenge we have, for example, with our young people in our country, is that we are more of a consumptive economy. You see, it's not there is no money. You'll get shocked that someone may not save 10K, but will go to a bar and drink a whiskey or 500,000 or 400,000.
Sure.
Now, the other challenge is, as we start up business and we talk about funding, we young people also have a challenge of wanting to start big. And even when you go into saving, they want to starting to save big. You can never, because you must appreciate starting small. You can only count 10 after counting 1. So for me, I keep on saying that just save 1,000, just save 2,000. Yes, I know people who earn 10 million Ugandan shillings. They think their saving must start with 50k, 100k. They have dealt in insurance, and someone comes and says, I need a saving plan. They are depositing 600. It frustrates them along the way. Saving is not about how much. Saving begins with just instilling the discipline and the culture in you. When you've understood the discipline, then you can start thinking about how much. And the discipline itself gets you to raising the money. Like I said, you get interested in raising the money. Oh, last month I had 100k. No, this month I need to target and hit my 300k. The money grows easily when you've appreciated the discipline.
And that saving gets back to the business. Yes, you want to start up.
Yes.
But still, when you open up that business, you have to keep saving.
Yes.
For it to grow.
Yes. The business must save for itself.
Yeah, it must save.
Otherwise, you keep on getting your money for the hair, your money for your dressing.
Looking good. And then you forget that by the end of the day, the business is off.
I've seen people start businesses, and because they don't save for the business or keep a profit for the business to invest in the business, you end up eating all the money. I've done that. I started a business when I was doing farming, and every cash that would come back, I would think it's my profit, and I would eat that money. Along the way, I would get my personal money and put it back into the business, until one day when I didn't have the money, then I realized the business wasn't growing anymore, and I realized I had diverted the fund. So yes, we make these mistakes, and it's very, very good to appreciate making these mistakes. So yes, have a separate account if you're going to save. The money that is for Kevin and the money for Kevin Enterprises are two different entities. So when you get money for Kevin Enterprises, please put it in the Kevin account. Don't mix it with your Kevin Waweru. No. It's very, very important.
So what is that best funding option that you would advise me and the person viewing to go for? The best that you feel this is the best that someone can do to start up?
I think for a startup, for me, the best funding would be the primary sources, where you get your little savings and earnings, talk to a few friends and family. You don't want to start a business in alone. It will put you on high pressure. You don't want to start walking by running. You need to crawl and go into that space. So it's because it's a discipline that when you're using your own money that you've little saved, and again, it comes back to, because why people go for loans, for example, you want to going for a loan should be looking at expansion or growth or adding value into the business. Now, if you haven't started, now you're expanding what? You're growing what? Because the bank needs to give you a loan having seen what you have done. There are businesses that you could get lucky and get some funding or a loan through the small little circles to start, because they may not put a lot of restrictions like the financial sector. When you go into the small circles, you see, by the time you pick that loan and get home, I know some people, they have put in fuel, they have used some of that money for transport, they have been eating beans, and that's a day they buy a kilo of meat and go home with it. All that, you're already, that loan is already a negative. Now you're already buying a kilo of meat. It looks very easy to pick up 10,000.
Off the money. You're like, this is something small.
Exactly.
It will not
affect the 1 million I've picked. And then you add on, I need to buy a watch. Oh, my hair, I needed to buy a spray. And you remove like 100,000. You still see 900,000.
And you feel there is still money.
Getting that 90,000 you've taken to put it back with its interest again now, and the period of time, it's quite dangerous, it's quite deadly. I appreciate start small. There is no business that can never fail to start because the money is little. No.
Maybe because sometimes we dream big. so big.
Exactly, we dream big, but
Not
we
knowing
must
that there are so
start
many
small.
businesses that we look out to, and they started with something small. They ideally started maybe with.
I have made a couple of jumbles into business, and many have completely failed. Until the one I'm doing now, which cannot fail because it's my passion. I sold shirts when I was at campus. My brothers, my in-laws will attest. I started a business of shirts with 50,000. What did I have to do? Go downtown early in the morning, down in Owino, those days, pick shirts of 8,000, 10,000, very, very good second-hand used shirts. And I would come and sell them to my in-laws at 30,000. So 50,000, come back, sell those shirts, I have 150K, go back, pick another 10 shirts. But what failed me along the way, because I had grown and was selling shirts, is that I then discovered that I was not doing it because it was my passion. No, I was doing it because I was looking for survival, just looking for money. So along the way, it was boring. I couldn't go down. No,
Is it about money? Like everyone wants to make money.
It's the greatest mistake you can make as a foundation for the business. Okay. The foundation for a business should be passion, should be service, not money. Money looks for value. The moment you add value into something, money comes. But the moment you chase money without any value, it will leave. People buy people. People buy services. People buy feelings. You can have 10 phones, Kevin, that you're selling in your shop. There are people who will come to buy phones, but initially they are buying Kevin. How you treat them, how you relate with them, how you approach them, how you deal with them. And that can only happen if you're very, very passionate about gadgets. Someone comes and tells you, my screen is faulty. You already have passion for phones, screens. You even tell them there is this screen guard, this is waterproof. You speak about something and a person buys the passion with which you're sharing the information. The moment you chase money, I can tell you, you'll fail, because the love and quest for money is insatiable. Even the richest man in the world is still looking for money. The greatest fulfillment in running a business is satisfaction and contentment from the feedback of your clients. Trust me, you when you work on a TV station, you earn a salary. So by virtue, someone could say Kevin is there because they have to earn money. And there are young people going into workspace and business because they're looking for money. But the greatest satisfaction, Kevin, is getting out of the studios and someone says, Kevin, that was a masterclass show. Even if you didn't have money that day, having hundreds of people telling you, Kevin, that was beautiful. That gives satisfaction. And trust me, the next day, if you are reaching at 10, you'll be here by 9.
That's why you'll be here by 9 or 8.
Yes.
Or 8. Yeah. Wow, beautiful conversation going out here about business development. We are looking at business development. How do we start up businesses? How do we start up investments? And how do we sustain them? Where do we even get to? And what are the things that we need to put in mind before we start up these businesses? Now, you've talked about different funding options, but different funding options have different challenges as well. So, as we look at business development, what are some of those challenges that we look at? We look out from those funding options. Yes, because I can look at family members, friends, but there are challenges that come with it. I can go to the bank for a loan. There are challenges that come with it. I can go for crowdfunding, but still there are challenges that come with it. So a person who is looking at a business development, building their businesses, maybe they've started already, but it's not moving and they want to get somewhere. Maybe they want to start up. What are those challenges?
Challenges in the funding space is that one, everything we do in life, the real definition of success is challenges.
Okay.
The greatest men and women that are in business, they have mastered one thing: focusing on challenges. The solutions lie in there. So for starters, we need to have a mindset change and don't look at challenges as problems. but look at challenges as fertility soils for growth of any business. When you have the Amazon starting, they were looking for challenges. The moment you solve a challenge, then you're one step into success. So some of the challenges as you face into financing, for example, if you're going to the financial sectors, you're going to need to require a couple of documentations, systems, depending on what kind of business you're doing. So you could find that actually you're looking for 20 million, but they need things that could cost you 10 million. You're going to have, do you have a financial audit system? Do you have books of record? Do you have, depending on the business that you're running. So already that frustrates a couple of people. So that's a challenge, but you need to shock absorb and tell yourself, I'm going to meet this. So start working in reverse mode. So by the time you get there, you have everything with you. Family, the challenge is going to be some people are not buying your dream, and so it kills on your expectations. Where you thought Sam is going to give you 1 million shillings, they give you 50,000. But then the greatest challenge also is trying to own the business, because they put in their own money, and then they want to tell you what to do with your business because they have given you the funding. And at times when you can't do what they wanted, at times they then tend to say they will withdraw. You could also face challenges whereby, months later or a year later, someone comes back and says, and you say, but you helped me. I said, I helped you to start, but now I think you've moved. Give me back my money. Doing crowdfunding, for example, is going to need you a lot of resources equally to stage the crowdfunding. If you're going to deal with, for example, a group of saving schemes, high school, campus, your buddies and friends, you have those saving schemes. There are issues of trust within yourselves, as some people end up eating that box money, that rotational money. You also need to be very, very careful when you start business with the people you associate with and where you actually put your money, because I've heard of cases where people save money. Either they could have been even OGs or OBs, but along the way one of them is unreliable. So just because you studied with a person shouldn't make you trust him. Just because someone is in your neighborhood or your sister, please don't trust them. You need to be very, very careful with who you trust your resources with. So the greatest conversations come with trust, and then if there is need for an interest and they give you their money, how to get their money capital back and still have money to invest in the business.
Or maybe the best way before investing, while looking out to family and friends, it's they may be borrowing you and you have a memorandum of understanding, so that when you start up, you have the idea behind you. You're like, yes, I have this money, but it wasn't for free. To avoid instances where someone will come in and they're like, you know what, I need the money that I gave you.
Yes, and it's very, very important when you bring the point of having an understanding with each other, probably more into documentation, because you'll have people who will probably change their word. I have appreciated that. Put everything into writing. For example, have you registered a business? I think, for example, that should be the startup. As you try to think about a business, register it. It's never a business until it is registered. Even if you've been doing it for 10 years, when it's not registered, we don't see it as a business. So I one time was doing a business with a person for almost 3-4 years, and I told this person, let's document. The person says, you don't trust me? I said, no, I trust you, but let's document. And I said, let's document. And we fell out. Because the one willing to document, either they could have thought it was a trust issue, or they could have thought documentation could make me take maybe more shares into the business. But it's very, very important when you get money from Kevin, right? One, it helps you train yourself to remember that you need to return their money. But in case something happens along the way, you have backup of this is what was agreed.
What transpired.
Yeah, but this idea of going to someone, pick money just like that, they turn against you. So have evidence. That's a record keeping we're talking about. Even the money you borrowed and to start with, please have records and documentation. We get money from people, even personal money, and then at times 2 months down the road, someone says Nkuwanja, and you've just already forgotten why did it make and you know you look stupid to be asking
how much is it and yes.
So for example, when I pick money from someone now, I go to the calendar. If I say I'll pay you in a month, I go to the calendar
and you mark the date that you're supposed to be
say
paid
Kevin 100k. So that day the reminder will so even if I don't have it, I'll call Kevin and say, Kevin, I was supposed to send your money today, but unfortunately I have issues. Could you give me another 1 week? One will appreciate that communication because it shows responsibility that, hey, they even know they're supposed to pay me and they have taken an initiative to call. But if you don't do that, for example, someone will think you took them for granted, and the next time you go back, they'll not give you money. Those are challenges that you end up even losing friendships or relationships or business partners. So it's very, very key. You've had conversations where a man gives money to a woman or a man gives to her, and there is no record keeping, and probably they separate and they're trying to say that Smart 24 is mine, and the other says no, it's mine, and it says I put in my money. So yeah, it's very, very important. Those are kind of the challenges you'll always go to. Yeah, documentation is very, very key for the business.
Okay, we talked about businesses, goods and services. How about people who invest in money?
People who invest in money, have understood money. They have learned money. But you see, for them, they're taking risk with money. And it's good. Taking risk has never been bad because everything is about risk. So for people who are dealing in money, you need to have very clear contractual engagements on how you deal with a client. Some people think people who trade in money steal from clients, but I also know examples where clients have stolen from those businesses. So if you're lending money, if you're sharing money, be clear what's the interest rate. You need to be in tandem with what other financial sectors are talking about. If they are giving rates if you realize when the bank is giving at 12, then the money lender is giving at 20 because they know you're coming to them because you're hard hit. If you don't know what's happening, the trend that is happening in the financial sector, the banks will be giving at 15, you'll choose to give at 10, thinking you're attracting more people to get money from you. Kumbe, you're making a loss in your business. So for them, it's more of having very well structured management systems and trust. You don't just give money to anyone, but you see, for them, one thing they use a lot is collateral or security. Yeah. There are those who have trusted people, and someone comes and they're your friends, and you count on their word and you give them money. And so for them, the key ones is structure, the management systems on how to run the business, having a deep research into the financial sector, but also engaging into the business. Because even when you're lending money, you need to understand what kind of people are you lending money. Are you lending us startups? There are people who have chosen to lend startups. There are people who are lending already running businesses. Kagwira otekamu in the evening nazikomiao like okozamu. You need to be very certain. And even when you look at banks, they have clearly cut their niche. There are banks which are into low-income earners. There are banks which are going for multinational businesses. There are banks which are purely into more of agriculture. There are banks which are into goods and services. You need to understand your clientele and then tailor the product packaging for that clientele. Yeah.
So people who invest in money, is it a good business that you would advise someone to venture into?
Every business is good. Every business is super good. Even garbage collection is super good. What makes a business good and gooder starts with the passion. Starts with a passion. I am not a money fixated person. I'm a service-oriented person. Even if you came and gave me 1 billion shillings now to start a money lending business, I wouldn't take it. It's not my passion.
So it's about,
not my
it gets
passion.
back to you as a person.
Yeah.
It's the passion.
The blood
When
that
you do
gets
what
you
you love
running
most, the
every
business
day.
will move.
Exactly. Exactly. You look at people into the modeling or fashion industry. If you don't know how to get on stage, on catwalk, then clearly there's no one you're going to sell your thing. So it's always about the passion. It's the driver. It's the engine. When there is no money, when there is nothing, when you love your job, when you love your TV job, even when salary delays, it's not about money. You look forward every day to waking up and going telling people, and then you're walking on the streets and someone says, "Oh, Kevin, you're doing well," and picks up 100K as a tip and gives it to you. It supplements the salary that you're doing. I worked in the TV industry for almost 6 years, and going on the street and give you all these tips from the guys you're hosting kept me running. So the passion, people will buy people. The reason why there are so many shops selling same products but you have your clientele coming back to you is that they buy your tailored service. As a young guy, when I was growing up, there was a time MTN, Simba Telecom, was into selling airtime. The time was still buying vouchers and service cards. We were literally buying ladies who are in those shops. You understand? You need to appreciate that. You enter a shop selling airtime, and look at this beautiful girl, and you want to buy airtime of 5,000. You say, "Give me airtime of 20,000." You'll balance yourself along the way. So people buy people. People buy people how they look. People buy people how they serve them.
So the bottom line
is just the same.
So the bottom line is, I've literally, as a person, I've picked like 2 things for me. It's a very important key things. Firstly, it is a saving culture.
Yes.
You have to save before you think of anything, or before you think of the friends of the bank and anything. You have to save.
That's what we
and
call
secondly,
seeds.
you have to think about the passion.
Thank you.
Your final words, please.
Thank you. Final words is to say that for us as young people, we need to embrace the need to provide solutions. For anyone who wants to go into business today, you need to sit down and ask yourself, what challenge am I solving? You also need to look out in your society or communities and look for the challenges within that community. If you're living in a community that has no water, provide water. We need to get out of our comfort zone of what we studied at school, what we have practiced along the way, to rather finding solutions to problems within our areas. If the challenge is you see there is lack of health services, provide that. If the issue is you have a lot of malnourished kids in that area, provide that. The moment your business is tailored to solve a challenge, you'll always get it right. The moment you start a business because someone is doing a business, because some started a boutique and is making money, because some is selling phones and you think everyone wants phones, you may be selling phones in an environment where everyone has a phone. So your business may not work. So understand the problem that you're trying to solve.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks for coming through. We've been having Mr. Samuel Gaba. You didn't give me the rightful pronunciation of that name, but I hope I pronounced it well.
Yes.
Thanks so much for being with us from the time we started. We look out for so many editions of the Financial Markets. I'm Kevin. Good afternoon.